Anthony, you ask. I take surf photos and notice a strange thing. I took a whole slew of pics only to find out that I used a shutter speed of 1 over 200, or we could say 200ths of a second, instead of my desired 1 over 2000, or 2000ths of a second. And I thought, oh well, that's it, they're all trashed. Only to find out that whilst the waves had an acceptable blur to them, the subject was in perfect or better than expected focus. So Anthony, this is really good because you actually were surprised that this worked out. That's really encouraging. And the reason why it worked out is because you have a very steady tracking ability. Let me explain. So you saw the surfer and you were able to track the surfer and take the shot and still maintain your follow through. Now I don't know a thing about hunting, I don't know a thing about skeet shooting or guns. However, my understanding that skeet shooters, when the plate or whatever it is shot up in the air, the person with the gun is going to be tracking that plate and then fires, but still maintains a follow through until the bullet hits the plate, and then of course the plate shards fall to the ground. This is exactly what you need to think about when you're photographing surfing. It's critical that you track the surfer. And you could actually say this for the cyclist or the taxi or the train. Anything you want that's moving quickly in front of you, you want to track them. And the things that are not the main subject, like the waves, they're going to be beautifully blurred. And that's what you came up with, and I'm really happy that it worked out. Okay, Ed is next. How do you select a subject area in a landscape photo? Is that important? My best photos, for example wildlife, have a strong subject, but my landscape shots typically lack both. Okay, Ed, this is a great question. By the way, Ed, you have been a faithful photo workshop goer, and I want to appreciate that. You've been to Japan with me and Mexico, so thank you so much. And I just wanted to give you a shout out there. So with regards to landscapes, this is a tricky question, Ed. If you are photographing something at a great distance, for example, the land, the sea, and the mountains are far away, for example, a mile away, then don't worry about it. It's not necessary. However, if you have a landscape where you're actually capturing the grass or the foreground ground, whatever that may be, if it's grass or forest or flowers, then that is when you may want to decide to look for something that's unique, which could be then named the primary subject. For example, let's say that you have a field of wheat, a farmer's field, on your bottom third. The middle third are the distant trees. The top third is the sky. Okay, that's a normal landscape. Let's look for something in that field that actually could be a primary subject, like maybe there's a wildflower popping up. Okay, well, put that on the lower third, or someplace in the picture to allow that to be the center of initial interest. Or maybe it's a special rock that looks nice. It is purely case by case, and like I said, don't worry about it if all of your scenes are way off in the distance. This is only if you are collecting, having your composition, anything that's right in front of you or the camera. Okay, hope that answers your question. Okay, Michelle. Michelle, another former workshop participant who has been on my Japan photo workshops and also my upcoming Mexico. Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm really excited to share with you on my new workshop. Okay, when you take an iPhone photo in RAW format, it shows up very blurry in iPhone Photos app. Why is that? When I open it in Lightroom, it is no longer fuzzy. What exactly is happening to remove the fuzziness? Okay, so first of all, the raw photo that she's talking about is taking the raw photo in the Lightroom CC mobile app. Okay, so that is called DNG, digital negative. It's a raw format that Adobe created and is made use in the app. Now, I have the answer for you actually, and it's an easy one. The iPhone Photos app pulls what we call a thumbnail from the raw image because the raw image is far too large and has far too much data to be shown in your iPhone Photos app. Okay, so it just shows a thumbnail, and that thumbnail further has to sort of be pulled from the cloud. So oftentimes you need to wait for about 10-20 seconds before that thumbnail pops into good focus. So I just want to assure you, it's nothing wrong with the camera, it's nothing wrong with your RAW, it's nothing wrong with the iPhone, it's nothing wrong with anything. It's simply that your Photos app on your iPhone is not geared toward that type of data transfer. Now, you will see it pop up really quickly in your Lightroom app, because Lightroom has allotted a lot of processing power to that one image. In fact, to all your images when you pull them up. It's really quick. Okay? So don't worry about a thing. It's very natural when you're using RAW. Okay, next one. Lori asks, with night photography, I'm having trouble with focus. I'm using a tripod and shutter release cable, and I've tried both auto and manual focus. Photos are very, very out of focus. I'm using a Canon 80D. Okay, Lori, I love this question. It has nothing to do with your camera, and it has nothing to do with you. It's purely the fact that cameras, unless they are professional models, have a very hard time focusing at night. So I'm just rereading here. So you're doing night photography. Now, the really robust and large cameras that professionals use actually have the amount of technology behind them to see in the dark pretty much. However, when you are having that problem, what I suggest you do is take a flashlight with you. Always have a flashlight and focus on an object in the distance by illuminating that object, because the camera has to have illumination in order to get proper focus. Now, there's a couple different types of technologies for focus. There's pixel focusing, there's normal lens focusing, there's various options. That is really not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is having the camera being able to see texture or contrast in a distant subject. So for example, if I'm doing night photography of star trails, I will usually use my headlights on my car to illuminate trees off in the distance, focus on them, then I'll switch my lens to manual focus, and then I'll take the picture. Because if I switch the lens to manual focus, I won't have any focusing problems, because I've what's called pre-focused my scene. This is critical. So let me just condense that for you. Illuminate your subject with your car headlights or a powerful flashlight. Focus using autofocus. Then switch your lens to manual focus. Then take the picture, and I guarantee you it will work perfectly.